Welcome to California in Focus. I'm Keegan Kernodle, joined by the Center Square's California reporter, Kenneth Schrupp. And today we're talking about the DOJ beginning a Title IX investigation into California over girls' sports. Kenneth, can you get into this for us?
Hey, Keegan. So the U.S. Department of Justice's Civil Rights Division has announced that it's investigating California for potentially violating Title IX by allowing males to participate in female student sports. Harmeet Dhillon, who is a very prominent California attorney who has recently made Assistant Attorney General for Civil Rights, she said, Title IX exists to protect women and girls in education. It is perverse to allow males to compete against girls, invade their private spaces, and take their trophies. In the background of all this, Donald Trump signed an executive order in February banning males from participating in female student sports, and he's threatened to block California's federal funding for continuing to defy this order. So California faces deficits estimated to be in the tens of billions of dollars a year for pretty much the indefinite future. So if there are pauses or losses in federal funding resulting from this, it would be very hard for the state to make up the difference.
Now, what is Gavin Newsom saying about all this?
That's a very interesting question, because what Gavin has said he personally feels and what he's willing to do as governor appear to have been two different things. So earlier this year, Governor Newsom launched a new podcast. And on this podcast, he had conservative pundit Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk asked him about whether he thinks it's fair or not for biological males to participate in girls' sports. And Newsom said he thinks it's, quote, deeply unfair. So shortly thereafter, Newsom was asked at a press conference, okay, you said this to Charlie Kirk, who created Turning Point USA, a very large conservative advocacy organization. And Newsom responded, he really demurred. He said that this is sort of a marginal non-issue that's not really worth the airtime and his time as governor. Newsom said, you're talking about a very small number of people, a very small number of athletes, and my responsibility is to address the pressing issues of our time. What is at issue here, though, is what's happening with the California Interscholastic Federation. There is a particular athlete and at a particular event for track and field who has been dominating the sport. The DOJ's letter says, as a result of CIS policy, California's top-ranked girls triple jumper and second-ranked girls long jumper is a boy. This is one person. As recently as May 17th, this male athlete was allowed to take winning titles that rightfully belong to female athletes in both events. This male athlete will now be allowed to compete against those female athletes again for a state title in long, triple, and high jump. Other high school female athletes have alleged that they were likewise robbed of podium positions and spots in their teams after they were forced to compete against males. CIF has tried to walk a very narrow tightrope between Trump's executive order and state law. Under a law signed in Governor Jerry Brown, California Assembly Bill 1266, transgender identifying students are required to be allowed to participate in sports consistent with their gender identities. So CIF is trying to have a bit of a measure that can appease both parties, that follows AB 1266 without incurring the wrath of the federal government. They are letting girls who did not make the finals because of who otherwise would have because of positions taken by males to participate in the finals. This is a sort of pilot at finals entry program. People are saying that this isn't enough, and we're just going to see what happens as a result of this investigation. DOJ says if it does find that the state is in violation of Title IX, which was signed into law in 1972 by President Richard Nixon to ensure that schools could not discriminate against female athletes and provide that female athletes be provided with equal opportunities in athletics, extracurriculars, and education. There is an argument to be made that by allowing biological male athletes to participate in girls' sports, that there is an impact on girls' ability to equally engage in athletics, given the significant outperformance of biological male to female compared to female athletes.
So it sounds like CIF is trying to make a little compromise here. They're trying to comply, but also keep pushing the same thing that they're going for, by doing this, allowing transgender to, compete, but also not take anything away from that. Has there been any backlash, or like, what's the sentiment on that? Have you heard?
Like there are a lot of leaders in California who are not happy with CIF's decision. But if they were to follow the federal order, they'd be in violation of state law. And at the end of the day, CIF governs California interscholastic sports. So they're probably going to defer to state law until there is some kind of legal order, legal notice that forces them to comply with federal law. Under the U.S. Constitution, we generally have federal supremacy apply. So I would expect that if there is any kind of court movement, that it could favor the federal government. But again, under federalism, we also believe in states' rights. Should states have the ability to have policies that significantly diverge from the federal government? That's another question that we're always addressing in courts. So this will be an interesting case one way or the other.
Yeah, definitely interesting to see where this goes, especially with this lawsuit or investigation, I guess. But yeah, thanks for keeping us all informed on this. Readers can keep up with this and more at thecentersquare.com. Thanks for joining another episode of California in Focus.